Okay, listen, we can't say too much yet, but Amanda and I have been secretly renovating the entire Brave New Teaching world behind the scenes.
We are taking our entire podcast, our shop, our workshops, combining them into one massive university. It's going to change how you plan your entire year.
It really is, but we need help testing the new platform.
So if you want a sneak peek and the lowest price that it will ever exist, get on our beta waitlist right now at bravenewteaching.com/waitlist.
Seriously, you guys, go now. bravenewteaching.com/waitlist. Let's go. Well, hello and welcome back to Brave New Teaching and welcome to our debrief on 100% engagement. Hello, Amanda.
Hi, Marie. How are you?
I am fine. I'm fine.
No, you're not. We just
I'm
talked
not.
about this.
Okay, listen, listeners, listeners. I may or may not have just told Amanda that I had a day yesterday where inside my head at school, I was like, if one more person talks to me, I'm gonna blow a gasket. Like anger in Inside Out. Like I just saw like the flames coming out of my head for really, I mean, yes, good reasons, but also like no reason that's like different than any other day as a public high school teacher in 2026. But like my threshold for anything yesterday was just non-existent, and I still feel the repercussions today. I'm fine. I'm not fine, but I'm fine. It's one of those. But I'm excited to talk about what we're talking about today because it's a great glimmer, right? And like the potential for more glimmers.
There is so many glimmers, and we are constantly exercising that line of we're fine and we're not fine and what is going to make or break it. But
I made 3 kids cry yesterday. I really don't think that I made them cry. One kid, I think, one child, I think was so on. I'm not laughing at the child's pain. I'm laughing because it was my voice that I think startled this kid and then tears came out.
Oh my God, Marie.
So I'm laughing at myself.
Actually kind of amazing.
Well, and it takes me back to when my daughter was an infant. And it would like finally get quiet in the house when like, you know, the 3-year-old, my son, was asleep or whatever. And then I would start talking and she would jumpstart so hard and then start crying. And that is what this teenager looked like. Like you could tell the kid was, and I just went, hey, kiddo. And it was like,
that's amazing.
And then that child had scared tears. Another kiddo didn't. I'm getting all of this out so that we can say like, hey, guess what? We're real people too, just like you. I had a child. This was the one that was the most baffling, where afterwards I was like, I need 10 minutes of silence at the beginning of lunch. No one talked to me and I put on my headphones. I had a kiddo who didn't want to do anything and kept asking me, what should I do? This is a junior. This is a junior without any special learning needs. Like there's no plan. Like we were just being defiant and just kept asking me, well, what should I do? I don't know what to do. And me saying, well, your options are you finish the project, but I can see these places that some of the directions were not followed very closely. So I think you should finish, like you should go back and fix that. I don't want to do that. Okay. I think that's what you should do. Or you can work on homework for another class, or you can read a book. You have 3 options. You're 11th grade. You have 3 options. I don't have homework for another class. I said, why don't you check? I don't want to. Okay. Well, what should I do? I don't know what to do. I was like,
I wish you guys could see Marie's face right now.
I just kept breathing. I said, sweetie. Actually, I didn't say sweetie. I said, kiddo. I'm getting a little frustrated because I've already told you a few times what your options are, and you don't want to do any of them. And I'm not going to make you do anything, but that's what your options are, and that's it. And other kids are waiting to talk to me. Well, I want to go home. I said, I get it. I can't make that call for you because I'm not your parent. Tears. I was like, I'm going to go ahead and say this goes beyond, like, this is bigger than me right now. But it was the crazy making. Well, I don't want to do that. Well, I don't want to do that. And I was like, girl, I don't want to do it either, but we're all here.
Oh my God.
Anyways.
I didn't make a kid cry, but I did I feel like this is definitely going to segue into what we're talking about today because I've got it. I've got the thread. I'm still holding it. It was a first grader, and I am reading a story, and they're like, "Mrs. Cardenas, you're reading so fast and so loud," and I was like, "Yeah, sit down."
Hello,
'Cause
I'm Mrs. Cardenas. Nice
I
to
was
meet
like,
you.
"It's also February." Guys,
Yeah.
this is how it goes. And the other kids are like, this is always how it is. It's okay. Just be quiet. And like they're totally got my back.
Yeah.
And whatever,
But it's
landed
February.
landed
I mean, that's like, right?
Brandon.
Like it's a sign
Oh
of the
my god.
times.
Oh my god. I also have like 525 students now, which is wild and
It's a lot.
so different from what I used to do. And it's just so funny how they rally. They rally. But
They
I
do,
do
especially
feel
because
like
you're the book hero. Like
uh,
you get to, like that's phenomenal
for some, for
for
others,
some.
I'm just too fast and too loud. And so here's the thread, right? It is 100% engagement. They might not know what the story's about, but they know that I'm reading fast and loud.
Yeah,
And
you're either the book hero or the story villain.
I I am
But
complimented to be both. Yes.
either way, we're all paying attention. We're all
Either way, no, everyone's paying attention, except for maybe I could think of two who are never
I can
there.
tell you who's not paying attention. The child that didn't want to be there. And I was like, sweetie, go text your mom. Obviously there's more to this picture than you are.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm not mad at you, but if you tell me one more time, what do I do? I'm gonna lose my mind.
Well, okay, but I was kind of kidding before, but I do think that this is exactly what we want to talk about today with
Absolutely.
debriefing. 100% engagement. We talked about it a little bit with Susan and Brian, and the title is not meant to be clickbaity. It's not meant
Right.
to deceive or overpromise something. I think 100% engagement is a goal for us that we have to talk about with this like new lens, right? This new
Yes.
with the kids we have now, we do
Yes.
have a responsibility. And this is like a from a lot of social media stuff that I keep following and unfollowing, but I don't know if this is popular or unpopular, but I do feel like we have a responsibility to engage. Entertain? No, but engage, I do think that is our professional responsibility to do
Right.
what we can to engage every single child in the content. I know our job is to teach, but I don't think it stops there. I don't think it can stop there. It
Because
has to be teach and
the
engage.
two are not mutually
They're
exclusive.
not.
Not in the know better, do better era in which we live.
No. No.
And I also feel very strongly that I am not a clown. Well, I am a clown, but that's just a personal
That's besides the point.
yeah. It's just all right. Amanda, we have been talking for 7.5 minutes and we have not cued the music.
Uh-oh. Maybe we should do that.
We're gonna talk about engagement in a second, but first let's cue the music.
You're listening to Brave New Teaching, and we are so much more than a podcast.
We give teachers the inspiration, support, and tools to challenge the status quo.
I'm Amanda, and I'm a former English teacher from Illinois.
And I'm Marie, and I'm a high school teacher from Southern California.
Join us after the show and happy hour to extend your BNT experience with instant access to our resources, workshops, and courses.
Visit shop.bravenewteaching.com/happy hour to join us today. We're so glad you're here. Enjoy the show. Okay, so hopefully, as you are coming to us, you have had time to listen to one or both, preferably both, of our conversations or the halves of our conversation with Susan and Brian, because that will set the scene. I mean, we talk a lot, even in just the first episode, about engagement versus compliance or attention versus engagement. Like there's depth to it, right? In order to be engaged, you do first have to pay attention. But if it stops there and we call it engagement, it's an issue. Anyways, so if you have not been able to listen to those episodes, you might want to pause us and listen. You also might want to head to the show notes and sign up get the little free download. It's basically a note-taking guide. I know some schools and districts, you can use it for PD credit. So like we're trying to provide all of the things while providing all of the things to actually make things work for you. And things like this will also be in Brave New Teaching University, which we've been talking about quite a bit. We're doing everything we can to make it as smooth and seamless as possible for all of you teachers out there and all of your colleagues who have not yet found us to just thrive,
Yes.
because we are tired too, as you can hear in my voice and from my stories and from my classroom. The kid was engaged. They're being a toot. But I digress into the introduction. I wanted to talk about, before we really get into what we did in our own classrooms, examples from Brian and Susan's book, 100% Engagement. In their intro, they have a little section that says on engagement, and it begins like this. To start, let us move past the old idea of engagement, which comes from the French engager, meaning to bind by promise or oath, like engaged, right?
Correct.
One common definition today still hints at this old school mentality to provide occupation for or involve someone in an activity, from Merriam-Webster 2025. That may have worked 20 or 30 years ago when we thought of engagement as compliance, but times have changed. Now it is not enough for students to simply be busy with work. We have to do better than merely occupy them with task after task.
We do.
Yes.
And I do think there are some of us who are so tired that the thought of that is so overwhelming. And I think as I've
Yeah.
processed the episodes in our interview and like even the work I did in the library with my lessons, is I think a book like this is helpful because it's a reframe, right? Like
It's
there's an
tangible.
engaging
Yes.
choice and there's a compliance choice.
Right.
And it's just a matter of making a different choice. And if you don't know what your choices are, it's finding resources like this, finding
Yeah.
resources like this book, finding resources like BNTU or whatever it might be. I think that's the beauty of the teacher community is, right? I've been teaching literary analysis and claim writing for 25 years and
Right.
it always sucks. And always, I can't stand it. Well, maybe the methodology, we just need a different choice, a different
Mhm.
path. And it probably will come down to a more engaging choice. But it doesn't mean that you are, I don't know, like rewriting your entire educational career. I think it just comes down to identifying where are those areas that things are falling flat
Yeah.
and what are the different methods that might create more engagement. You don't
Well,
need
and
to
like,
go
no.
off the walls.
For me, I actually redid a lesson activity that I have done for years, but I framed it newly. It's
Aha.
book
See?
snaps.
It's
Yes.
frames. Yes. Talk about book snaps.
I don't even know that I framed it newly. I think I like went back to what it was supposed to be, where
Mm.
I got tired. I am tired.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am overwhelmed with just a lot of things. And it's fine. Like, it's happening, things are going. But like, as we're recording this, we are going to be on a week-long break in my district next week. And like, we need it. I have been doing things like book snaps, which we'll explain in just a second here, for a long time. And I do think I used to do them a little bit more productively and fruitfully, but that was like 8 years ago.
Yep.
So, A, times have changed. B, I have changed. And C, sometimes things that used to work one way can still work, but you just have to readjust. But like, I think I let the rails fall off a little bit. And so going back and redoing this through a new frame, I didn't change anything about the way I handed out paper. I didn't change anything about the way that I wrote the directions. But I did change the way that I approached and stayed engaged with my class while they were working. And it made all the difference.
I love that.
Yeah.
Can you go a little bit, like, can you kind of walk through it a little bit more?
Yes. So basically, a book snap, I mean, and like in their book, it's lesson number,
On one page 145.
lesson number 20 in 100% engagement. And this is where like the kind of chip on my shoulder part of me is like, I already do book snaps. I don't need to look at it in the book. The approach that Susan and Brian have is not a you should, it's a here's what I do approach. Like, here's what works for me. And that it's just so welcoming and approachable that it's nice. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. Book snaps are essentially like a social media post of a section of your book, right? Where if you've never done these before, the simplest form is that kids take a snap, a picture, either with I have them do it with a Chromebook and then they have to like flip it because they're doing it with a
Yep.
mirror,
Flip the camera.
or with their phone, like whatever. And they use their, what am I trying to say, device to manipulate the actual page. Or they, actually annotate the page and then they take a picture of it one way or the other. And so you give them, like, one of my favorite ways to do this is when we're starting a novel, to do setting book snaps where they can really look at how setting and context is being created and we're building worlds. When I do my unit on fantasy, like choice novels and fantasy, we set up like forts in the classroom and everybody can sit down and we spend the whole day or the whole class period, sometimes two if the kids are really into it, reading and taking book snaps about the world that's being built. And so that's basically what a book snap is, right? Like for me, it's been reinforcing how to do an annotation
Love it.
and like how to do that like short form analytical skill really of annotating. But where I was missing the mark and where going back through the lesson as it's written in 100% engagement is that it's the conversation piece. Like having it be a one and done, they turn it in, I see what they did, was very transactional. And when I used to find so much more, what really felt success with it, with my students, was when I was talking to them while they were taking their book snaps. It was
Yeah.
while I was showing them my book snap and saying, oh, what did you get? Oh, what emoji did you use? And like it being a conversation piece and involving everybody, then it wasn't a credit, no credit, turn in, don't turn in. It was, and that is where I fell short. And the other thing is, because this comes from Susan, she does a volume of book snaps. She asks kids to do 20 book snaps at a time. And I was like, oh, yeah, duh. Because if
Yep.
I'm doing Instagram stories, the way that I use, if I'm trying to help students see reading as a regular part of life and model how to have a conversation, then we need to bring these regular parts of life into these kind of alien tasks of reading and talking about reading, which are not every day for a lot of our kids.
Right.
And so to be able to merge the two, they need to do a higher volume of the same activity, like book snaps. So I'm not going to have them do 20 on setting, but that was my like dawning like Dodoy moment where it had gotten very stale for me and for my classroom. And students were kind of like, like they're doing it. The engagement came in when we're actually talking about it and we've got more things happening and going on. So.
Well, what dawned on me when I was rereading this section too was that I've always used it for whole class novel, things that we're doing together. She's using this for choice reading,
Yeah.
independent reading, and lit circles. It's so smart.
And it gives us like what it does for me. Cause like, yes, I've done it with Gatsby when we do, whole class, but I find so much more success with it when it's choice reading because it gives us an entry point for conversation. I just wasn't having the conversations with kids, like, duh. And then their book snaps got better and better because we were talking about it. Like,
I think it's a brilliant, like if you guys are doing lit circles, right? Like I think this is always one of the complaints that I would get from people is like, well, it's so hard for kids to have an organic discussion during lit circles on their own. It's so hard for them. And so I have a whole bunch of things that I've tried too, but it never dawned on me that like if the only assignment you have for the week is to bring a book snap to your lit circle discussion, that is a discussion, is what was your book snap? Even if they haven't annotated it yet, maybe they just bring the picture, everyone shares their snap, and then like the rest of that meeting is spent annotating their picture or maybe voting on which snap they all agree on is the best. And like the discussion is about something that they've pulled from the reading and then pulling it apart there's that organic piece. And that's, I think, goes back to this idea of engagement. The engagement wasn't a song and a dance. It was just turning your head a little bit, right? What do we say, right? Like look
pan left.
pan left, and ask them to bring something that then sparks that organic, because organic discussion that we are stilting with questions is not, it's not organic discussion.
Well, the other thing I was doing, like talking about like lit circle conversations, is I found myself doing book snaps at the end. instead of the beginning. And the beginning is like the doi. The other thing that I love that I like totally forgot about as a thing, she calls it book bentos. I've called it like
Oh,
book
yeah.
flatlays.
Gina, we had Gina on the
Yes,
podcast
yes,
like a year
exactly.
ago. We should link that in the show notes
We
for
absolutely
episodes.
should. And it was just it's a great in a world where we are so inundated with so many ideas, so many strategies, so many different things. This helped me go, oh yes, distill what works. Distill what works really well. Yeah. So I just and it's simple and it's low prep and it's really highly effective at getting kids to engage. And the
100%.
thing with engaging is we have to meet in the middle. Like part of why in my classroom book snaps had started to fall flat in the last few years is that I was assigning and then backing
Mhm.
off because it was at the end
Yeah.
versus it being more of the focus. And then I assign and I engage. And then I ask students to meet me in the middle
Yeah.
with their like productivity and their work versus I give it to them. I sit back because it's the end of class or it's the end of the week or it's whatever rather than it being the last bookend. If it's the front end, the meet me in the middle is better.
I love that. And okay. All right. Should I do mine? There's no surprise that we both pulled exercises from part 3, which is novel and drama
I know.
lessons.
I know.
Um,
Look at us.
there's also a lot on short fiction and the other side on poetry. I just am not in that moment right now in my year, and I really wanted to actually try something with younger kids.
Mhm.
So again, if you're new to the podcast, I taught high school for a bajillion years. I am now currently in an elementary school library situation, and so one of the engagement parts that we're seeing where kids are checking out is they come to the library for 30 minutes a week. They can pick any book they want to take home with them. And
Mhm.
I'm telling you right now, it is dropping off already before middle school. Like
Man.
fourth and fifth graders are not interested in checking out books on their own, right? Like if I don't do something,
Yep.
I'd say maybe 15% of them are regularly looking for and checking out books. Now, another 15%, right? I have tons of books at home. I don't need a book, blah, 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 right? The whole story.
Mhm.
And a good chunk of them really just need a break. And we do a lot of we do a lot of stuff in there that's not books because I believe in that too, right? Some kids just need to re engage with like learning and thinking in different ways. And some of them just need a break.
Yeah.
So I'm not forcing anything, but I am very interested in low stakes engagement things I can do by bringing titles to their faces. And so when I read through the section on musical chairs for
Mhm.
complex texts, okay, so this lesson is from Brian. And the best way I can describe it is speed dating, close reading with music. And so the way Brian did it is actually with single line quotes. His example is from Macbeth. And so instead of him, right, front loading and dumping everything kids need to know from Act 1, he pulled single lines, which must have been taxing and very difficult to decide which ones. But I think he pulled 30 lines from Macbeth from Act 1 that were vital. And then he spread them around the room, one per kid. And so it kind of reminded me if you've ever played Scoot. You guys ever played
Mhm.
Scoot? So it's
Mhm.
it's a little bit less like run
Yeah.
and a little bit more like a lot more chill version of that, but it combines all of those best things. Movement, kind of like book snaps, like there's something in front of you to start with, but it's what do you make of it that is the engagement part. It's not
Mhm.
even the music, it's not even the movement. I think that the best part of this is here's this line. Why is this on the list of the top 30 from Act 1? It's the inquiry part, actually.
Right, right. Why did this make the cut? Yeah.
Why did this make the cut? And so he has kind of like a table where the students would, do all their reactions once they finish the quote that they're on, right? Then the music plays and they move to another seat. Then they sit down, they have a whole new quote, same thing. Music plays, they move, right? Music, move, music, move. So no one's getting out. It's not even in a circle necessarily. It could be. So I love this idea for, of course, for how he wrote it. The way I adapted it though for a library is in our library is very small, like very, very small, depressingly small actually compared to the other two elementary schools in the district, which we can talk about that another time. I would, I got like two rows of fiction. That's it. But there's a lot of books jammed in there that the kids don't necessarily see because we haven't we're working on some new display things, but neither here nor there. I thought musical chairs for fiction titles would be a really interesting way for kids to access and preview a lot of text in a short amount of time. So what I did was I X'd on the floor 25 spots that were basically in front of columns of books. And so every student started at a different book row column, you know what I'm saying? Like right
Mm-hmm.
in the rows, there are columns. They sat at each of their spots. And with the timer, I had them at their spot, pull any book from that section, look at the cover, read the inside cover, and then they had to jot down a smile, a neutral face, or an X. If they loved it, they were kind of neutral, or they were like, no way, not my thing. So they ended up so they would get, I don't know, I think I put the timer on for 6 minutes to pull, to mark, and then to judge. Or sorry, to look, and then to write down their info for
Mm-hmm.
about 6 minutes. And then they put the books back and then we rotated and we did, I think maybe 4 or 5 rotations. And so the kids saw 4 or 5 books that they've never actually looked at before, and then walked away with a list of recommendations for their
Right.
TBR. So it wasn't complex text, but it was that idea of getting a lot of bang for a little buck. And they had a lot of choice because they got to sit in front of the whole section and pick whatever book called to them.
And they
And it
got to
was
move and move and move.
and
Yeah.
they got to move and they didn't talk to each other because they were spread out. It was awesome. But the structure is engaging but not entertaining. And then the goal was amazing. And I really was happy to see that. And then the kids did have time at the end to check out and then they left and then they came back and they'd had more books to check out. It was awesome.
That's great. That's
Yes.
great. Well, and now I'm thinking like, ooh, you know what'd be cool is something like that in lieu of a book tasting, which is I love a good book tasting. I
Sure.
love a good speed date book, but maybe we need to shake it up.
You should go to the library and do it.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to think through how I could do that with only 7 titles. I'm thinking. 7 titles and 40 kids. How could I do it? Let's figure it out right here right now. Or something like that. Or maybe this just isn't the right activity or the right strategy for that.
So, okay, wait, how have you been doing your book tastings?
We go in and there are the tables with,
Yep.
each book stacked like 7. I think I have 7 titles in my let's take the fantasy one for instance.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then they sit at each table in rotation?
Yeah. They rotate through. Well, I book talk them all, and then they have to choose of the 7, 4 that they would like to look at, and then they have time to do a look.
Oh, well, that's basically
Yeah. But I should just do it with music.
you should just do it with music.
Or I have them look at all of them, and I just make smaller circles.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. It's
That's what it
smaller
is.
circles.
We
Yeah.
just get a much larger space. Yeah, that's what it is.
Well, and the thing about if you skip the part where you book talk, I do think that that's an issue for kids. They need to
Yeah.
hear your voice
I love that.
getting excited about the right things because even their inner voices are not that reliable
No, not at
when
all.
they're previewing something. So,
Yeah,
especially if
but
they're
I like
going to do a lit circle, I think you could
or
do this exact lesson if they were just doing choice reading, like a
I was just
complete
gonna say, or I
repeat.
take it the way that Brian wrote it, and we do it with lines
Oh, yeah.
from the books. I take lines from the books that they're tasting. That's what I'll do.
Ooh, I like that. And so it's more about choosing based on
So it's more inference. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay. That might be it.
And it's almost like a quiz, like a personality quiz. Like you've book talked all of them. Now you're in like which ones did you more frequently align with? Oh,
Mhm.
you're this book or you're that book, and
Oh, I'm
see if you're
obsessed. Oh,
surprised.
this is great. All right, friends,
The
I will give
logistics
this a
feel a little
try.
wonky at the moment, but that's kind of cool.
Well, but we're back into a choice reading unit for my classroom in March. So follow along on the social media and I'll post.
Okay. So
This will
this
make
book
me
is amazing.
actually post.
This book is amazing.
Yeah.
It's
No, it really is.
reinvigorating, and I'm sure you already know, have fallen in love with both of these two incredible educators. I want to say again, like so many thanks to both Brian and Susan for sitting down with us. And they're so genuine. They love their work. These two are the real deal. Like they're the real deal. And if you ever get a chance to go do a workshop with them, if you're an AP teacher, take it. Even if you're not an AP teacher and you can somehow convince whoever the powers that be to let you go learn from them. They're just incredible people who care about this work that we do.
Absolutely. Friends, if you have the book also, or if you just like follow Susan and Brian and you have tried these strategies, let us know. Let us know how it went. How did you adapt it? What did you do? Again, we have that like basically listening guide for you to jot down notes that we've been talking about in all 3 episodes of this series. If you just head to the show notes, we've got all kinds of stuff for you. And Brave New Teaching University is coming so soon, and we want it to be just as helpful as we are finding 100% engagement. Like just a way to organize all of the chaos that is all the things that come our way. Yeah. So
I'm just
thank
I'm
you
just
for tuning
excited. There's so much to come in 2026. I feel good about
in.
an even numbered year.
Okay, I'll take it.
My birthday's on the 28th. I'm turning 40. It's 2026. Like it's the year of even numbers.
Okay. Listen, I'll take that reasoning. It sounds great.
It's
And
ridiculous.
everybody, we're going to take this positivity into the next week. I hope you have a wonderful week at school. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Bye-bye. Thanks again for listening to Brave New Teaching.
We'd love to keep the conversation going over on Instagram.
And while you're there, check out the links in our bio for the most up-to-date events going on in Happy Hour and the Brave New Teaching community.
Thanks for being here, and have a great week at school.